Welcome. Hello, everyone. I just I've been in obviously the intro screen for a few minutes there, and I saw a bunch of you saying hello and stuff in chat. I usually, when I turn on the stream, I say hello to the people who were saying hello, but then I remembered I hadn't exported yesterday's stream, so I changed the tab to go do that, and now that I'm back, it's cleared the cache. Isn't there a button I can click to see all current viewer usernames? Does anyone know where that is? Where's that button? Can you teach your dad how to Twitch? How does that work? Right, I obviously see the current messages. Kunstabaust, Atri, Ty. But what about everyone earlier? It's on the top right. Oh, is that only on the regular page though? Because I'm on like a different chat window at the moment. Oh no, I see it. Top right. You're right. Whoa, these are just people in chat already. That's way too many to list. Oh, that's everyone lurking, right? That's not just the messages. That's everyone. Anyway, hello to everyone. That's too many. But yeah, hello. We're going to be running through today just a little bit more of the Living World recap, trying to catch up, reflect on yesterday's stream. I'm literally in a place right now where I'm thinking, do I want to do a YouTube video on the fishing and skiffs and essentially regurgitating that information? Or would I rather just kick up a stream? And it's weird, but I've actually thought I'd rather just kick up a stream, so that's what I'm doing. I haven't actually done a video on fishing and skiffs just yet. What I really want to do for YouTube next is I want to get in contact with Boots and do a silhouette video. Little things, I guess, in due time. Can you guys see this at the very bottom of the list? Can you see this like little spike between her feet? Can you see that? That's the top of one of the buildings in the Mistlock Observatory, which is where I recorded this footage. I actually had better footage from the aerodrome. In the end, I think this one of Liz standing in her white mage outfit. You don't see the spike there anymore. All right, let's head on in. Oh, I just had something was popped there. Waldeer, dude, Waldeer, it's good to see you, man. How's it going, dude? What do you think about the third profession from this beta session? Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what that gyro looking thing is. I don't know what the strange, extra character is. It does look very strange to me. What class do we want to play while we run through today? What class do we want to play? I still really want to figure out warrior, but nothing to click in. Rev, I'm a little bit bored of, I have to be honest. I kind of want to play a PvE Scourge too. Let's play a PvE Scourge. Like an open world Scourge is what I mean specifically. You were actually waiting for that video as you had to tune out earlier today. I don't know, man. I'm just very unenthusiastic about what real insights do I have with that? I can compile all the weird little bits of trivia and stuff that the community has figured out. But it's just it's just not exciting really to me. It's just not clicking. The thing is, whenever I log in on my Necro and I consider playing, I'm like, so that's raid DPS, that's a Berserker Reaper setup, that's a Shaman / Martial Heal Scourge, and then I don't have the slots for other stuff. I have like a minion build but no gear for it. Screw it. I really need to get more templates for my Necro. And then I'll probably start playing her more and I'll click with her a little bit more. I could of course play Ranger. Let's play NG. NG I'm actually interested in at the moment. Where's my NG? I'm going to play some PvE Hollow. Open World Hollow. WP, what's the best Wi-Fi games online all the time? Oh, I'm completely blanking. I often see fun Wi-Fi names and I'm like, yeah, that's a cool Wi-Fi name. I never actually go to the effort of implementing them, but I do often think that. Right, let's get out of the Armistice Bastion. I think I'm here because of the Boots video from like a month ago. We need a poll of yeah or nay for fishing. Hey, that's a good idea. Yeah, should we try that? Rocker sent me a bunch more messages about getting the poll overlay on screen, but they're links and I haven't seen them. Okay, so here's the question. Did fishing stream impress you? Oh, and Skiffs as well. It's the fishing/Skiffs stream. Did it impress you much? I don't just want to hear that you're impressed. I want to hear that you're really impressed. Alright, so there you go. So start poll. Yes or no? Did the fishing and Skiff stream impress you much? Yes or no? There's the poll. And we'll see what people think about that. Wow, my frames are so bad when I play with this simple little video on there. I mean, to be fair, there is a lot of players here. There's some Lions Arch looking population going on back there. Right, what build are we on at the moment? Do I want a rifle? No, I want a sword shield. That's fine. So, why have I listed that as DPS? Okay, so that's a Berserker. Yeah, hollow. I get that past me, but what kind of hollow is it? It's an open world hollow, isn't it? I think I was very lazy about these templates. Open world. Yeah, and this is my whole alchemy setup and all that. Alright, good. So, let's get moving with something, and then I'll return to the topic at hand with chat. We still have more sandstorms to check out, so let's have a quick look at that before we go to... The poll is 45% yes, that the stream impressed them much. 55% no. Which is interesting. The poll's still open if you guys want to change. I think they made some good decisions. I wanted a lot more detail. So here's oh, should this be a YouTube video? The thing is, I think I build up what a YouTube video needs to be way too much in my head. I could just quickly go and, like, record a take. And that's it, you know. But I always end up feeling like that's... Oh, so here's my take. That they, they hit... So basically they're doing Stardew fishing, right? And that's good. I like Stardew fishing. I think it's a really good, clean, simple format. And like we were saying on yesterday's stream, it's kind of funny because, you know, we were talking about how they never really do mini games on the UI, and yet they've kind of made one. Now, to be honest, I think the UI that we're looking at there looks really kind of rough and slow and a bit messy looking. It doesn't look that clean, really, but it's there. And I like the Stardew fishing, so I think that's good. However, I want more details because Stardew fishing isn't... There's two things that I think might trip ArenaNet up. Stardew fishing isn't good just because it's a thing moving back and forth and you've got to like hover over the sweet spot. That's not why it's good. It's good because the different items and different things you can do in the game and the different kinds of fish that you have all affect the minigame in meaningful ways. Like, sometimes you'll be fishing, and you'll see that the fish is, like, always at the bottom of the bar. And it's like, oh, okay, you can actually get a sense of what kind of fish it is you're about to fish up. I haven't played Stardew for a while, so I couldn't give you the exact example of what that fish would be. Sometimes it's sprinting around a lot. Sometimes it's, like, really erratic. Sometimes it's just insanely difficult, and then you know, oh, this might be a legendary fish or something. So, like, there's a lot of, like, equivalence between the minigame and the fish that you're actually getting. Also, ArenaNet's gone, like, horizontal with the bar, I guess just to be arbitrarily different from Stardew. But the Stardew, it being vertical, is kind of meaningful. It's to simulate a sense of depth. You know, if the fish is constantly bobbing around at the bottom, you kind of get a sense that maybe it's hanging around low down or something a lot. And I know in real life that's not necessarily how fishing feels, but that's definitely what they were going for, and it kind of clicks. And I think Guild Wars misses out on all of that. So what I want is more details. And so like in fishing, when you use different bait or when you use different tackles, it changes the minigame. You know, it reduces the amount of bounce on your like meter. You know, if you hit the top or you hit the bottom, it will bounce a bit, but you can reduce that, or you can make it bigger. Can you make it smaller? I can't remember if you can make it smaller. You know, it all affects things within the minigame. ArenaNet didn't say any of that. I want to remind you guys that Stardew Valley was made by one guy, all right? And the reason his fishing game worked well, I think, is because there were a lot of things that interacted with that little simple mini. It wasn't enough to just have it there. Now, so that worries me a little bit. That's one thing I think the devs might have missed. Here's the other thing that they never talked about. Well, I think they just straight up got wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about this. It wouldn't be the first time, and I could be completely off base with it. But again, there you go. We finally got the first one done there. Oh my god, they give you a free ascended weapon for that. The rewards were good, but Jesus Christ, I didn't know they did that. Okay, here's the other thing. The control scheme. What really draws everything together in the Stardew fishing is it's not left and right on the keyboard. It's holding the left mouse button down. There's like a sense of acceleration and push and pull and weightiness to it because you're like, it's not this granular thing where you can just go left and right. And do you know what really kind of worried me a bit? It's when on stream, the developer that was presenting it, I can't remember their name, I'm really sorry about that. But they were talking to the stream, like presenting information about it, about the feature and like chatting with Ruby. They were like messing with something in their UI. Like, I think they were reading a tooltip maybe or something. And they were fishing at the same time. And that to me was just like a little moment where I was like, oh, okay, so it's really, really... Like, the controls... What I'm trying to say is the control scheme I think that ArenaNet have gone with... It's just... What did they say? It's A and S or A and D or something? I think it... You have so much more control there, I think. I mean, I haven't played it, so I could be wrong. But I think that might be a mistake. I think that the holding down left click... And that's your only way to interface with two dimensions, up and down. You get left click for that alone. I think that really means something in the Stardew system. It's not just that they have a bar that vacillates left and right or up and down. It's the left click. That's a really important part of it. And Guild Wars didn't do that, did it? Maybe I'm wrong and it did, and they're holding down A and S, and I've just got the complete wrong impression. I'd love to know in chat if anyone can check me on that. But yeah, those are the two kind of things where I'm sort of like, Those are kind of my big reflections after having watched it that sort of take away a bit from the positivity for me. I thought that them using the decorating system to actually choose where you're fishing and even to place the boat down is kind of genius. Like, it looks just like decorating. In a way, you could look at that and you could say, oh, they're being so economical about everything. I mean, even decoration thing. You could take it in a cynical way, but I think it's good. I really like to see that. And there's a control scheme and a thing that I'm familiar with. It works. For boats, I thought everything looked really, really, really well thought out. With like the collision is there, but only when you're in a party. There was an interesting moment on the stream where she said, "Don't drop a boat on someone else's head." And I thought, oh yeah, that's gonna be weird. People just spawning boats around. But you know, that's not something that I think Guild Wars necessarily has to solve. All kinds of MMOs with features like this end up having moments like that. And then there was the elephant in the room, and I was watching I shouldn't watch the goddamn Twitch chat. The amount of comments that fly through in that Twitch chat that really don't have any relevance to anything. I mean, unbelievable. Anyway, I was watching very closely, and the exact moment it started was when they were talking about Turbo. What were people asking in chat? What's the elephant in the room? What didn't they say on the stream? What's the topic we mentioned several times over here? People were asking in chat, is Turbo faster than the skimmer? How does Turbo compare to the skimmer? Blah, 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 blah. Boat or skimmer, boat or skimmer, skiff or skimmer, skiff or skimmer. And, you know, it looks like they don't have an answer for that. It looks like they don't want to talk about that. It looks like they don't want to, you know, value those things together, even though the community absolutely will do. And I really do think that's going to be a very frequent criticism as we go forwards. People are going to be saying, Skiffs are useless, I've got my skimmer already. And it didn't look that fast, to be honest. Not that I think it okay, I actually think the speed looks good. In a world where we don't already have these hyper movement speed kind of oriented mounts. But I mean, these are just sort of lame, shitty first impressions that don't really have a sense of how big Saitang Harbor looked in that stream. I mean, it looked, by the way, it looked very, very pretty, and it looked very nice. And I'm excited to go back to Saitang Harbor. I thought the show was presented a little bit better as well. They were a bit tighter, they were a bit quicker with like transitioning through graphics and demonstrations and stuff. It still felt a little bit chatty. Maybe they looked a little bit nervous, or they managed to change the atmosphere in the room a little bit. It felt good. It was better for sure. I liked it. So there is the full throttle mastery, which increases your skiff speed. And again, I want to be. I don't know whether we saw. Wasn't that already enabled? They had max masteries in the stream, didn't they? They had like 100 mastery points over what we can currently get in game. I want to be clear. I'm not actually an advocate for ultra fast skiffs that have to be able to outrace skimmers. Blah blah blah. I do think the logic of it should make sense that if you want to be turbo boosting around permanently, you need a whole party of people in the boat. I do think the logic of it is then you should probably be going quicker than someone on a skimmer. Like, that's going to feel real bad. Like, I'm not going to feel good emoting away. Honestly, that's not going to feel right to me. And we go into this place of, like, mounts in End of Dragons, and are they assuming everyone's going to have them, or are they just pretending that they're not? Blah, 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 blah. So, but I thought all the social sides of it were pretty well thought out as well. I thought there was some quiet moments of genius in there, like the incentive for eating food while fishing. Now, I'm guessing why that's going on, why they've added that mastery. I'm guessing that's because, like, the main thing we get from fish is food, is consumables, and they kind of want to get a sense that there's, like, this positive feedback loop where the reward feeds back into the system kind of thing. Maybe, I don't know, I just thought that looked quite inspired. What else was there? The idea of repeatable collections was somewhat interesting to me. Like, they did confirm they're repeatable now. Then they didn't give details though. Like, again, it's like there's no detail. Where's the So they didn't. They said, "Oh, you'll get AP." Did they say you get AP? They said you'd get something, which was not interesting. And then they said, "Oh, you'll also get a new thing," but we're not talking about that yet. Now that could be anything. That could be a great victory for the system, or it could just be a let's pretend it's something good until later, or we'll try to figure it out later, and then we'll never really get there, and it's just going to be like, "Oh, you get some map currency." The thing where it's like you can create a fishing party and build up your fishing strength and then go on like these fishing trains, I actually don't like the sound of. I'm concerned that what that's going to be is the game will, the community and the game will be balanced around the idea, or like it can't be too strong, or if it is really strong, everything revolves around this idea of like, oh, it's only really worth fishing if you're in a fishing party and you do the train. Then it really isn't worth it. And if anyone ends up with that perspective, which I think a system like that naturally inclines everyone towards, if anyone ends up with that perspective, that the idea of what fishing is, a nice, fun, casual, quick bit of progress you can make anywhere, anytime, that's relaxed, suddenly that's betrayed because all of those easy access, casual, slot it in here and there moments are undermined by this weird guilt of feeling of like, this is worthless. I could do this behavior for days and days and days and days, or I could spend 15 minutes in a proper train, you know, and people will feel that way. And so I'm a little bit concerned with that, and I don't know, I don't know how. I don't know what ArenaNet's view for fishing is then. Maybe they just don't care about the idea of it being a casual, fun, accessible thing. They want it to be like this arresting thing that dominates your gameplay and a party of people's gameplay. I get the sense that that's not what they want. They think they can have both. I don't think that they can have both. That's my guess of the seam of it. Yeah, and they didn't talk about a lot of other stuff like daily caps can fix that. Maybe, yeah, maybe they can do like a daily... I know, you got to be careful at some level though, because if you implement a daily cap in the wrong way, people will see it for what it is, which is a diminishing return system, and people hate that shit. Particularly in like there's a lot of overlap between what's fun about fishing in games and what's fun about grinding in games. And when we're in this kind of arena, I think the whole story of DR can suddenly become really like bad feeling and really offensive to people. I don't know. Maybe there's a way through it. It's just a first gut little feeling. Yeah, and someone just said compare your biggest shark or whatever. That's a whole thing that's not there, right? They didn't say that there's different sizes to fish, you know. As a mastery, I do think, for what it's worth, these will be quite successful in as much as they'll probably continue to impact our gameplay. Like, a lot. Like, how often do I... You know, well, let's look only at expansion masteries, first of all. I don't want to look at any other masteries. Sandstorm's over. We can go do story again in a second. Let's look only at expansion masteries. So let's look at, say, alright, you can go into toxic areas, right? You can eat an adrenal mushroom. How often am I really doing that? These two End of Dragons masteries, they look like I'll be doing them a lot. They look like, in terms of like POF masteries, you know, even on this very stream, you've seen POF masteries being utilized constantly as I'm, you know, running around on all these different mounts. I feel like they'll be fairly successful in that department, even if they are just repeatable collections. Yeah, they didn't talk about regular loot interacting with the system in any way. They didn't, I mean, I think that is weird that people want to know what their, it's an MMO. People want to know what their incentive's going to be. And we weren't given that. Which is... Which says to me that they haven't solved that problem. Which would be very regular for Guild Wars to not be able to solve that particular problem. Right, did we get... Shall we just finish the mining? No, I think I've got energy for some story instances, so let's do those. Got to keep an eye out for Hableon at some point. I do need to do just a few more events in this map as well. So we want to keep an eye out on that. We got to do events in Ember Bay. Scanning around for events should be a fun part of all of this. Random events in Bitfrost. Okay, so yeah, it's Lake Doric's story, basically. And I think we got to do all of them. I didn't do any of these. Lake Doric's story and events. So let's get on with that. The head of the snake. Oh, and we're on our engineer, who it doesn't look like it's actually beaten the patch. So, should we just do the whole patch? Do you guys want to just do the whole patch? Sky scale, gliding, other mounts, downstate skill, everything else. Oh, I don't agree with that. The Raptor is... Oh my god, maybe I do agree with that? I'd rather a Raptor. Let's poll that. What would you guys rather, Raptor or Glide? Would you rather have a Raptor or a Glider? There's a poll up. It's only 2-minute duration. Let's see what people would pick with that. I think it's a Raptor. It's got to be a Raptor. No, you guys are crazy. Anyone saying glider is crazy. A Raptor basically is a glider for all intents and purposes. It makes you immune to full damage, and it can get you across massive gaps you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Let's assume the idea of, like, different areas of the world aren't gliding locked or mount locked or whatever. A Raptor is nearly every bit as good as a glider. There's only some scenarios where they're, like, leyline gliding and updraft and stuff, which are, let's face it, mostly only in Heart of Thorns. If you look at the big jump on a Raptor, if you look at this, right? Okay, so for example, okay, if I glide off of this, where do we land? All right, let's pay attention to where we land if we glide off of this. And also how long it takes us to land. Right, the glider will probably get us a little bit further. right? And we're immune to fall damage. So this is where we land. Let's create a squads. Oh, God. And drop a marker there. Oh, no. And drop a marker there. Oh, come on, man. There we go. We'll drop a marker. That's where we landed. Now, I'm not saying the raptor will get us as far, but I'm saying it will get us a good chunk as far. Not to mention all the other value you get from a raptor as you, like, rush around. It's a lot less as far as I thought, to be fair. But still, I still think raptor's better. Being able to run around anywhere you want and be able to do this. You can't mount up to a raptor while in air. Yeah, but how often? So you prepare better. So you prepare better. 66% saying glider. That's mental, guys. That's mental. Because you've got to think about different scales as well. Think about, like, this rock, right? On a raptor, if I launch off of this, that feels really good. I get a good distance, real fast, high quality of life. If I want to glide off of the top of this, it's just a matter of course of gameplay. Like, come on. For 99% of the game, I would rather be able to do this for, like, efficiency and movement and all that kind of stuff. You can turn with the glider? Oh, you can turn okay with the raptor. Maybe not in a leap. You can a bit, even in a dash. Not to mention how much better raptor skins and stuff are. Oh, he's still alive. Clerics can be rather tanky. Let's take out this cannon, because we do need events after all. Yeah, and do we include all this other shit? Do we include the leap of faith? If I go do that test again, and I use the leap of faith at the end, do we include that? Everyone who voted glider there, you'd rather have a glider. What are you using it for? How often do I have to break that bar? Oh, regularly it seems. I was right about to unload some damage there, and then no. Jesus, it's actually really, really, really heavy to break. Oh, do you know what? Maybe I should have just channeled the shield to spam out some daisies before I then flipped it. Did I get a miss on that? Wow, this sucks. I should actually probably kill the other shit in the area, because... Oh, I shouldn't have used that just yet. Do they just spam respawn? I'm assuming that they do, which is why I ignored them. I also didn't think... When you break... When the shield comes back, it, like, nukes the fuck out of you and knocks you back. So if you break it too quickly... Sorry, if you DPS too quickly... Okay, it looks like they do just die and stay dead. I'll let that guy eat the spectral damage. Go on. Slowly but surely. There we go. It should die after this one, right? I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. Whee! That looked like such a simple little diversion for one event. Okay, hold on. I needed to speak with Thackeray, who's back here. I forgot. We're actually following the green stars this time. We got distracted with the glider raptor convo. Am I on US or EU? I'm on US. Using a glider to stop splatting against the ground, though. I don't know. I think, like, right now, look at this right now. I'm raptoring around, right? Trading this away just so that there's the odd chance, you know, I might take a bit of full damage or something. The game's actually better with the full damage enabled. The heights and stuff feel more real. There's more stuff going on. Yeah, there was a lot of quality on the... Hey, also, yay or nay for fishing and skiffs? Well, we did just do a poll, and it said 55% nay. 55% nay. I just gave some of my my feedback from it. So, chat, what did I miss? What does chat think about the skiffs? And do you think I'm wrong with my hesitancy about the, you know, my comparisons to why Stardew got it so right and how Guild Wars isn't actually doing those things? Oh, by the way, the boats, another thing that I want to say about skiffs. The skins, a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I literally, on yesterday's stream, and I feel bad about this now. I really do. Looking back here, I feel bad about this. I said that, you know, skins, for example. I said they wouldn't make that much money on boat skins because it's just a coat of paint. Do you remember I said it's just a coat? It's not just a coat of paint. It's a whole new model. It's actually quite elaborate what they've done with the Deluxe thing. So, I don't know. I don't know what it's like on their end to get all the art and stuff hooked up for that. So how regularly we'll see new skiffs come into the game. I do feel like it's going to end up a little bit like mail carriers did. And even finishers, maybe you can throw on that pile. But you never know. Stardew comparison is 100% true. It has a lot more going on than just a moving bopper. I'm glad someone thinks so. Is kind of with me on this one. And I really think it's important that a full studio does better than a solo dev. Somehow. Maybe I'm just a twat that shouldn't be thinking along those lines. But I don't want to see, you know... Shit, what's his name? Chaotic Ape? What's his name? Concerned Ape. Concerned Ape. If you're going to emulate it, if you're going to be derivative in some way, you know, improve. And especially from ArenaNet, that is where my bar would be, you know. Fishing as a major feature for an expansion seems so bad. Yeah, but I've talked about this a few times. I think it's unfair to call it a major feature for the expansion. I want to be clear that we're talking about it today because the stream just came up. Not because it's like a great condemnation on the expansion if it's not that good. I don't see End of Dragons as an expansion with a major feature. I think this is just something good that can come into the expansion as a nice bullet point at the same time. And because it's an expansion, it can actually get some funding such that it wouldn't if it was a part of Living World. I think that's the way you got to view this stuff with End of Dragons. It's sad because a lot of the talking points that Mo made during Path of Fire are the talking points that need to be reiterated now. That this is a content expansion. It's not a transformative, loads of shit expansion. It's, hey, we're just going to put out a lot of good content. It's going to be a really good story. It's going to be really good exploration in a new sizable continent that's not cut for time in like any really big obvious ways. Obviously, you could always add more. There's going to be a line somewhere. It's going to be a high quality experience of Guild Wars 2. And you've just got, at this point, after 10 years, you have to ask yourself, do you like Guild Wars 2? Do you really need a big headline transformative feature for this expansion? And their answer to you for now is no. That we don't think we need to do that. We're just going to do a great X-Pack. That's what they're saying to you. They're not saying, oh, we're going to save the game with fishing. All right, if you're thinking that, if you're thinking anywhere near along those lines, your whole expectation base is just wrong. It's just wrong. So, yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it, and I'll talk about where I'm whelmed or non-whelmed. Dude, I'm doing so badly on this stream. What the fuck? Do you guys think I've got worse at this? Do you think I'm... How? Can I just say... My objective was to go to this waypoint and interact with this. How have I ended up doing this? Am I worse at this now, at talking and doing things? You guys are all going to say yes, but that's because you're used to me on YouTube where I actually have a plan and I sort of know what I'm doing a little bit. Maybe I've always been a dumb fuck. Okay, Glider versus Raptor. The Heart of Thorns glider was essential. For Path of Fire and Classic, it was the Raptor. Okay, so you wanna add context to this discussion. I'm not sure I like that. I just want an easy answer, man. I don't want to have to consider all this other shit. Turn on the UI. The UI is on. That's why there's a mini-map. And that's why you can see my squad, which I don't need to be in. Oh, you're saying turn the objectives UI on so that I remember where... Yeah, but it's still there on the mini-map. It's still telling me where to go on that. Actually, it might not be, because I might have the content guide off. Oh, yeah, it's hiding personal story. Let's default that, and now it should... It will give me the appropriate shit. Thank you for the advice. This is why the minigame is slightly engaging and not too complex, even if you can't talk to people and play. Well, hold on. I don't want... everything I just explained about how we don't need to have... We don't need to think of fishing as the Messiah and boats as the Messiah. I just made that point, right? Even having made that point, I don't want to use that point as an excuse to set the bar so low we don't even realize there is one, all right? If they're going to do something, I would like to see it done, you know, well. So I'm going to talk about where it could be better, you know? And I especially don't want to see, you know, a one-man band execute the vision better than ArenaNet can. So, I don't know. It's just, to return very briefly to something I want to stick out for you guys. Again, it's that moment in the stream. Maybe the dev was just very, very used to the system. Maybe he had high-level fishing rods. Maybe it was a low-level fish. Whatever, I don't know. Maybe, you know, his fishing power was super high. That's what they call it, right? But the fact that he could do 3 things at once, you know, and catch the fish really easily, it did make me think, okay, have they missed out on why it works in Stardew Valley? The bar was set extremely low by Icebreed Saga, to be fair. But that was Icebreed Saga, it's not an expansion. Alright, so let's just go to all of our green dots, baby. Thanks very much for the sub there, Banshee. I love that word, by the way, Banshee. I've noticed, over the past few years, I think I mentioned this a while ago, I've got really into, like, fantasy evil shit in fantasies. Like ghosts and demons and, like, paranormal and cryptids and shit like that. I think all that stuff's really cool. And I don't know. I kind of want to play a game like, you know, I never played it, but I think the Secret World was pretty good for a lot of that stuff, right? Secret World, that's what it's called, right? Hold on, do they want me to do all the hearts on this release? I can't remember. I guess I've already checked in. Did I ever get around to Witcher 3? No. I feel like that game's got a bit of that vibe as well, though. What are they called? Netchlings? Neckers? Netchlings? What are they called? The, like, fetuses that become undead. And they, like, crawl around or whatever. They become demons. I mean, that's just grim, to be honest. That's not necessarily what I'm vibing on when I play a game like Phasma. Botchling, that's it. What a horrible name for that as well. Botchling, yeah. I don't know anything about The Witcher, really. I've made a couple of attempts to play Witcher 2 and never got very far with it. Rocker says, to be frank, it's kind of what I would have expected from fishing. It's not something that's supposed to be very difficult. It's a mini game. Well, no, Stardew Valley fishing isn't necessarily difficult. I mean, it is when you're at the very end doing, like, legendary fish, but it's not difficult. Okay, here's another thing that makes that fishing in that game pop. So here's something that I'm struggling with. Because I don't really get fishing in games. Let me just be clear. You can disregard my opinion on a lot of this. Because I don't really get the joy of it for the joy of it. I only really fish in games when it's balanced really well with the rest of the game. So here's the other thing that Stardew does well about fishing, all right? And it is integral to it. It is almost everything about it. Time. Stardew is how do you spend your time during the day. And actually, I think, didn't they break it in a recent patch or something? In single player now, it pauses while you're fishing so you can do it infinitely or whatever. But that balance of like, okay, time, you're spending a resource time. You're choosing to be on that pier. You're choosing to walk to a new body of water, which will take a little bit of time. So that, you know, like that. These are all like things that add color to it and balance it and make it feel like a thing, you know? And Guild Wars won't have any of that. So again, I just feel like, I don't know whether it's just going to be really empty. And so then I'm like, okay, am I just supposed to love it for loving it? Because I just don't get that, you know? So maybe disregard my opinion. Has WP mentioned the weather being a thing or two? Was that said on the stream? I haven't mentioned that because I didn't know that was a thing. Is that really a thing? Weather's affecting fish? Oh, you mean in Stardew? Well, yeah, I mean, the seasons do, of course. And I don't know whether that's really something to credit the fishing system. That is another thing that colours it, obviously. But yeah, in Stardew it is. You know, when it's raining, you can catch different stuff. But I mean, that to me is the magic of that game. By the way, I do believe in that in an MMO format still. I actually have argued that that's where Elder Scrolls could go to. Should go. Not could, should. I'm not going to fuck around here. They should go that way. Elder Scrolls has always kind of flirted with, like, time. Like, oh, this festival is only going on at this time of year. Like, they've always tracked how much time you're resting, or, like, you know, what day and what month it is, and so they've always, like, flirted with it. They've never gone the whole hog. Imagine, you know, what they've tried to do is go wide as much as possible in terms of, like, geography. You know, oh, how big is the province? How many quests are there in each city? How many interiors are there to visit? You know, they're going wide in terms of, like, places to explore. Stardew's an example, and, you know, like, Harvest Moon is, we keep seeing Stardew. We're now talking about a genre, right? A little trodden genre. But that's an example of going deep. It's you know, you're getting a lot. That instead of playing with lots to explore, it's just the one city, but you can explore it in winter versus summer, and it's very different in winter versus summer. It's very different when it's raining, and it's very different, you know, during the day and during the evening. And I really feel like Elder Scrolls could be looking at that dimension more. I think would be such a great place for that franchise and that style of RPG to expand to, you know. And you already see, like, the modding community of those respective games. Going back to even Morrowind, they were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna add snow in winter, you know. And they always just, like, stick with the aesthetic side of it, but, you know, something a little bit deeper and more cohesive. I think that's where they should go. And then VR probably after that, when it's a bit bigger. Oh, man. So what were the hot takes from the guild chat? I don't have any hot takes, really. I don't think so, anyway. The FF14 fishing system's really complex. Weather, time, bait, everything matters. Yeah, I'm interested in that. Well, here's another thing with me as well. Oh, and by the way, let me say as well, I'm quite excited with the Guild Wars fishing. They did mention bait and tackles, didn't they? There are rods, there's bait, and there's tackles. There are actually 3 new items. So what I'm actually quite excited to see is another row be added on the hero panel down here with the 3 fishing bits of gear. And that, there's a lot of opportunity for colour there, and there's a lot of opportunity for new itemization and vendor wares and shit like that, and crafting and stuff. So I'm quite excited about that. I do like that they did go for the full 3 items. I didn't expect that they'd go that far, but they did go that far, and I'm very happy with that. Again, I don't know if that's just because they're emulating Concerned Ape, but hey, whatever. So I'm curious to see what they do with that, because I think that's one of the ways in which, one of the big problems with Guild Wars is that question of, like, okay, what do I get now? I have Ascended, what do I do now? Or I have Legendary, what do I do now? And, you know, the more slots that basically appear on this panel, the better, I think. To a certain degree. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's... I mean, I would have to do a lot of conversation to sort of round out that thought. But I do sort of believe that. So I think that's a good move. It's kind of like how when mounts came in, I feel like they could have done, like, mount saddles. And they could have done, like, you know, like offensive mount gear. Or they could have done, like, you know, mount hooves or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, there could have been items that kind of add to it. So you could affect maybe their their damage reduction or the damage they do with their opening engage strike based on gear. And now, you know, there's a lot more intrigue that comes from all the Path of Fire hearts and late game collections and, you know, new crafting recipes and even the raids during that era. They all could have been adding to, you know, because maybe when it's a bit like the, you know how like Aqua Breather for years it didn't have like even an exotic one, was it? And we still don't have like a legendary one. It took ages to get ascended, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like that. Slowly throughout the POF era, this gear could have like almost tiered up. And you kind of start to get to get some of the crumbs of what other MMOs do with their rat race gear treadmill bullshit. With those slots. Which, you know, is kind of antithetical to Guild Wars in some ways, but in other ways I think it's a really useful tool. The reality shiny gem store poles and infinite baits lures in the gem store. Oh, I hate you. Defunct's... Ugh, he's right though, isn't he? Oh. That's too accurate. That is too accurate. I hate that shit so much. The whole infinite account bound gathering tools in the gem store that completely undermines these as like a valid function of like itemization in the game. That to me is like, that's the perfect example of the kind of patches and the kind of ways in which the gem store is muscled into the real game that I loathe. And you've just revealed to me that that is entirely possible with the fishing stuff. It's too accurate. It's too believable. And I hate it. Is that an outdated PC specs in your Twitch bio? I can't remember if I updated it. What does it say? It might be. I had something to say a second ago. Fuck, what was it? It was about, it was right as we were moving into the baits and tackle discussion, how they did the 3 items. It's gone. It's gone. Oh, I knocked my mic and it cut off. Ah, that keeps happening. I just happened to see that. What was the last thing you guys heard me say? Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I've talked myself off of a certain talking point. Maybe my my talking points are so predictable you guys can predict what I was going to say and someone can put me back on top. Oh yeah, it's gone. Okay, that's quite an appropriate time for my mic to die then. Any progress on the FF12 LP? No, not at the moment. None whatsoever. Not since I got the new PC. I mean, I got unbreakable tools because it's a hassle carrying stuff in my bag again. Same with the salvage-o-matic. Yes, but you do see that they sold that to you on the gem store. And what they could have done is not go all the way up to unbreakable. They could have instead had, like, higher durability shit from, you know, as a carrot for you to go for in content that you otherwise wouldn't be in. So yeah, I understand why you want an unbreakable one. I understand that. I think going unbreakable is like, it's too much. I think it kind of betrays everything there, really. But imagine if there was something that was like, okay, it has like 2,500 charges. It's essentially going to last you a whole year of gameplay. Except you're not buying it off the fucking gem store. It's like a lucky drop from a world boss or something you can work towards in a raid or in a fractal or something, right? Or whatever content you like and you don't do, imagine it was a valid reward, okay? You see how it muscles in on what could be a good part of the game? But instead they sell it on the gem store and they say, all right, you just buy it and you'll never need to buy another one because it's infinite. They're that desperate for your cash. It's infinite. So they just close the door on this whole idea in the game. They just shut it. Or unbreakable tools should have been ascended gathering tools through achievements. I mean, maybe you could say that as well. They don't actually use rarity on these, though, anyway. You know, there is a tier system. You know, like you got like dark steel and then you go up to orichalcum or whatever. You start with copper. But in terms of, you know, they're all blue, aren't they? They're not, it's not like There's not like a white dark steel pick, and then a green dark steel pick, and then a yellow dark steel pick. They don't actually use that. I mean, for flavor purposes, they might in some places. It's kind of like how for flavor purposes, sometimes you'll find a mini that's like got the ascended lettering on it. What's a good example? Or like these ones are yellow, for example. This one's green. These are kind of hangovers from how Guild Wars 1 used to do minis with yearly chests and RNG. Like these ones are exotic, not yellow. I'm pretty sure there is an ascended one somewhere. Anyway, you get my point. By the way, I think I have the resources for the last llama now, and I was waiting to do it on stream. So we'll see. Right, do you actually want me to do this heart? Or just talk to the person next to the heart vendor? No, they want me to do it. Reapply your disguise. So they want me to steal the battle plans, rescue the soldiers, and commit acts of sabotage. They haven't done much of this team swapping stuff recently. You guys noticed? No, I understand that they might have different colors, but it's not like there are multiple versions of a dark steel pick, as far as I know. They could have done that, where each, you know, as you go up through the quality, you get more charges or whatever. Anyway, I feel really bad about that idea of that's what fishing will become. Maybe it will be. This, again, it's just one of those things where it's like... Would I pay a sub fee to escape from all this bullshit we just talked about? At this point in my life, am I just going to get over the whole sub fee thing? And it's funny because when I look at other games that like have optional sub fees, or like they're all like we were talking about Elder Scrolls Online, like triple dipping. Do you remember we were talking about that? Not triple dipping, like quadruple dipping and nickel and diamond. I look at how insane that all is. This is one of the most fanboyish things you'll hear me say, like really. But if there was any studio out there that I would trust to do an MMO with a sub fee, and the sub fee is there so that they can avoid doing these shitty practices that muscle in on the game, to continue using that phrase. If there's any studio I would actually trust to do it, it is ArenaNet. I would actually trust them. If they did a sub fee and they said, it's because we don't want to do this other stuff, I really do trust you wouldn't see the other stuff. I really do trust it would just be the sub fee. Because they've got enough years not wavering on those other things, as I've said. I think it's one of the strongest points about this game. One of the best things about how this studio's handled this MMO over the years. They've obviously had hiccups along the way. And everyone's got a little moment where they think, oh, this was over the line. But generally speaking, particularly compared to the industry standard. And it is weird how that, you know, they've got that goodwill from me now. I would pay them a sub fee, probably. Not that I'm like super keen on all of this. I know the topic keeps coming up, but... You trust ArenaNet, not NCSoft? Well, see, honestly, I don't see that many... I'm from the outside. I may be completely wrong about this. I don't know how many examples I've ever really seen of NCSoft stepping up and saying, fuck you, no, do this, because of Mr. Moneybags. To me, it looks like they've always had a good amount of latitude. And, you know, this is something I really probably shouldn't talk about, because I don't know what happened with the leaks, you know, the layoffs. I don't know what really happened there, right? Maybe that was some horrendous situation where they all got royally fucked by NCSoft because of corporate interests and so on. But generally speaking, you know, I feel like they were given plenty of time to execute their vision and do what they wanted to do with Guild Wars 2 in a lot of ways. I don't know, maybe NCSoft did step in and do some nasty stuff around the launch of Guild Wars 2. Because it is funny, when I look back to the launch of Guild Wars 2, how often they would say in that whole... They were trotting out that talking point, it's ready when it's ready. I want to say, by the way, around 2009, 10, 11... that talking point, it's ready when it's ready, that wasn't like this overused BS thing that everyone's instantly cynical of, which is now true, I think. So many studios say that, right? It actually felt like kind of meaningful. And then, of course, Guild Wars 2 came out and it had glaring issues. So maybe that was a moment where NCSoft said, no, you've had long enough now. You started this in 2007. It's 2012. Get it out the fucking door. Maybe that happened. Dude, I keep failing this. What? Who saw me there? You saw me. You're totally on the Battle Pass boat or Skiff. I think that would be the best monetization model to improve Guild Wars 2. So why don't you fill that in for me a little bit more? What would a Guild Wars 2 Battle Pass look like to you? The thing is, it's not... when I say the sub fee thing, by the way, I'm not talking about Guild Wars 2 anymore. Guild Wars 2, the damage is done, right? You can't go back now. Not really. Well, you can... To go back would be to delete rewards and items and progress and shit that people have got. And it would be to, like, go scorched earth on a lot of shit. And it would be to sunset a lot of shit that people may have paid real-world money for at some point. And it will never happen. It will never happen. Talk about bravery and balls. You're not going to see that. It's just a crazy thought. So when I say this, I'm talking about a fresh start in a new ecosystem, a new game. Either that, or you do like the whole account sharding thing that I've talked about before, where you know how in like a beta they create a perfect facsimile of your account and you're playing on that and it's kind of attached to your account. Allow people to like scroll through those, and in those new ones it's like, you know, it's like an ARPG League or something where it's a whole new economy and everyone's back to zero, and you know, everyone you see there is earning all their items again and their masteries again and their achievements again, just under a slightly different rule set or whatever. And maybe it would then work there, but I don't think we'll see that either. It's too ambitious. Honestly, the Battle Pass thing is hilarious because we have progression tracks in a Battle Pass fashion in World vs. World. Yeah, it is funny if you think about it. If they put a gem on the gem store, 300% faster reward track benefits. To look at the nuts and bolts of it, that you kind of have a Battle Pass there. Do you know what I mean? Kind of. You tie that with like a new reward track coming in with some exclusive shit, you know, a bit like the Warclaw reward track or something. It's kind of... But we all know that it doesn't actually translate. That doesn't feel as satisfying. Well, and then there's pips, as someone just said, but I don't know. That's one of the things I actually hate about World vs. World. I hate that there's 3 progression systems overlapped, and they're all confused and juggling, and it's like, please be rewarded playing the game. It feels so bad to me. Like, just trying to imagine a new player wrapping their head around, okay, so I'm leveling my rank, and I'm building pips, and I'm building a reward track, and I just... You best hope you have a friend that already plays the game, let me put it that way. Okay, so I actually only have easy objectives right now. I just need to rescue one more soldier. We'll rescue this guy in here. And steal... He might have, right, when he turned to the stairs. I like how they use the raid music here, by the way. Wait, what? How is that not counted as rescued? I rescued the bastard, and now I'm dead. Unbelievable.